We are live. Another edition. It's another edition of Pride and Passion Baseball Talk. I am your host. Let me get settled here. Amir Shiraz Ortiz. You can follow me on Facebook at Amir Shiraz Ortiz. No, those are not made up words. That's my actual name, Amir Shiraz Ortiz. Or on Instagram or Twitter. Yeah, that's the other one, right? Yeah, Twitter. On the Twitter. It's not for twits, all right? I don't want to offend anybody as we do this. Poppy Ortiz 02. Let's do this. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Yes, it is. Nice shirts. I do appreciate that. And we will be trying to bring down our merch to something that we want to start off with. And here sooner than later, we will be sending those out. We will be sending out the requests. So you too can be representing Pride and Passion Baseball Talk and or the All Sports Matter podcast. Catch us tomorrow, 7 Eastern, for the All Sports Matters podcast that we discussed tomorrow. It is the AFC North, right? Yeah, we're doing the North tomorrow. That should be interesting. Should be 5 minutes of Lamar Jackson running around in circles. Burrow throwing it to everybody and anybody. So, yeah, catch us tomorrow. The NFC North. We got a couple special guests joining us. But today we talk baseball. What do we want to talk about? Get on the comments section. Those of you that are live, and I do appreciate you guys that are live. We appreciate you that are live. I want to, send a special thank you to my background crew. Jimmy, I say Jimmy James. I know it's not his actual name. Jimmy James Bilbo is my producer. Flectron Moore is my statistician. If he's awake, hopefully he's with me for the rest of the show. Big Rob is probably at band camp right now, and it's all good because we love him regardless. And we are going to talk baseball today. Obviously, the big news has came out this past week or this weekend is Fernando Tatis Jr. That's something the Red Sox did from 1908 to 2004. That is a run drought. And I just do that from the top of my head. I could be a couple years off either way. But if you don't win a title in 100 plus years, sir, that is a run drought. I am going to focus on the subject at hand. And it's Fernando Tatis Jr. What happened? A megastar. We are talking about a mega superstar. He is no LeBron James to NBA. He is no Aaron Rodgers to the NFL, but is equivalent to saying Russell Wilson pissed hot to football. It is equivalent to saying James Harden pissed hot in the NBA, if you catch my analogies, That's how big this guy is. A superstar. Not in the making, a superstar in living form. A superstar that we've seen with our own eyes, our baseball analysts, the baseball fans, those guys that go out there and say, this guy is that guy, if that makes sense. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is and was that guy. Jeez, man, what happened? I'm going to give you a synopsis of his career and say, I don't want to say I'm surprised. I don't want to say that I'm shocked. I just want to say that I'm not surprised, if that makes sense. I just want to say that I don't want to say I saw this coming because I'm not the next coming of Miss Cleo. But when I say I'm not surprised, I'm not saying that for words purposes. I'm saying I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised. So what happened? He pissed hot. He pissed hot for a banned substance. We can all say, oh no, it was an accident. And it's quite possibly will. But I just want to go through the history of Fernando Tatis, of the kid, the boy. I don't want to disparage him. I'm not here to say he's immature. He wasn't ready. He wasn't expected. when you sign a superstar of Tatis's caliber at 19 years old and give him $324 million, the organization has to take some fault too. This is my opinion and my opinion only. We're not talking about Major League Baseball. We're not talking about the All Sports Matter podcast, because I don't speak for my colleagues. I am telling you, this is huge. This is huge for baseball. A scandal of a black eye. I don't want to compare it to Watson and what he's going through, because that's a totally different situation. But it's the same black eye, if that makes sense. Okay? Anybody stop me at any juncture. Okay? Yeah, this is, man, you guys totally right, Flat. Pedro Martinez did break this down. I've kind of stayed away. Let me be honest and candor for a complete moment. Ever since I started doing this podcast, hell, all podcasts, okay, I've kind of stayed away from the media outlets, ESPN, Fox Sports News, the talk shows, not Sports Center, not the recaps, but I stayed away from the talk shows. I kind of pivoted a different way in my life, only because I wanted to have my own opinion. I don't want to be influenced by the Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless's, Colin Cowherd. I think that's his name, right? Yeah, he has his own show. I don't want to be influenced by these guys. I really, when I started doing this, I took it seriously. What's going on, Gary? Tito, Gary. I don't know which one of you. Einhorn, Finkel, Heinhorn, whatever. Same dude. I get it. I didn't want to be like, I'm sorry, my Spanish is getting to me here. I didn't want to be influenced. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. I didn't want to be influenced by their opinions. I wanted to come up with my own. I remember talking to Fleck when this first came up, and my thing was he just wasn't ready. Fernando Tatis just wasn't ready for the spotlight. Fernando Tatis wasn't ready for $324 million. And I ask him. He'll vouch for me. This is the first thing I came up with. This is the first thing I came up with when he got suspended, and I said this guy wasn't ready. I knew his history. I knew Fernando Tatis' history, and I wrote it down just because I'm all about facts. My opinion matters. I get that. And I'm usually always right when I throw stuff out there, because it's something I either read or learned. Like, I make sports a priority in my life. Always have. With that being said, I don't want to get on my soapbox. I don't want to preach to anybody, but I want to go through a history really quick on why I thought that Fernando Tatis is not worth $324 million. I believe that's how much it was, and I got it written down somewhere. Okay, he's a kid. We're talking about at 16 years old. He signed with the Chicago White Sox. People don't even know that much. He wasn't always a Padres. He was signed with the White Sox. He was scouted out of Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo, in the islands as a kid already, even more of a kid. You know what I'm saying? 340. Thank you. 324 is Garrett Coles, and I'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to get upset, but I appreciate that, Flick. $340 million. And I got that written down somewhere, and I'm pretty sure I'll circle it, but I'll get to that here in a second. 2015, July 2nd. And I want to stick to facts, because we're all about facts. As much as we give our opinions is based off of facts. And I wrote it down here. July 2nd, 2015, he was signed as an amateur by the Chicago White Sox. Again, 16 years old. A year later, at the All-Star break, okay, we already know the All-Star break is usually the end of July, always usually. It didn't happen this year because the league started a little bit later. Those are facts again. It's always the last weekend, the last week of July. It's the All-Star break, 2016. So 2015, he was signed at 16 years old. At 17 years old, he was traded to the San Diego Padres for James Shield, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. For James Shield, who was a decent, above average pitcher at that time. Okay? 2018 comes around. 2018, he's killing the minor leagues. He was named the second best prospect by Major League Baseball. Okay, I'm pretty sure Chicago is kicking themselves in the butt right now. They had Tim Anderson in the system at that time. So their mindset, I understand, we don't need both of them. So they trade Tatis. Cool. 2019, he makes his debut, right? 2019. So I want to make sure I get this right. Opening day 2019, he makes his Major League Baseball debut with the Padres. April, a month later, a little bit over a month and a day later, he strains his hamstring as a rookie, and he missed 34 games. This is not a knock on his maturity level, because obviously injuries happen. We get that. He gets hurt as a rookie, and he has to deal with that all season. Not only did he deal with that all season, August of that year, he has a stress fracture in his lower back. Again, we're just talking about his rookie year. I'm only talking about his injury history. I'm not talking about him as a person. I don't know him as a person. So I'm only talking about facts. He gets shut down the rest of the season. Rookie season done. Okay? So he plays May, June, July, 4 months. Everybody knows Major League Baseball is a very long season. To include, we're not even talking about the playoffs. He misses 4 months. Got it. 2020 comes around. What happens in 2020? I need a drum roll right here. COVID. Got it. Season doesn't even start. COVID happens. We finish with a 60-game season. And to me, that's equivalent of the Lakers winning in the bubble. Because who won in 2020? The Dodgers did. I have a personal friend that is both a fan of the Dodgers and the Lakers, and quite possibly has never stepped foot in LA for more than 2 days. Just want to throw that out there. That's my brother, though. Love you, Jimmy. Not that that's his real name. But just throw it out there. So that doesn't count to me as a season. Got it. That being said, he survived that season. I said all that to say that Fernando Tatis played 60 games without being injured. That doesn't say much, right? If you're a baseball fan or a fanatic or an enthusiast or anything serious when it comes to baseball, everybody knows that baseball is 162 games long or 162 games short. I don't know. It all depends on what you want to say. 162 games long. He played 60 without getting hurt. Congratulations. I'm not knocking him. I just want you guys to realize where I'm coming from. Let's go on to 2021. I did write it down, but thank you, Fleck. February 17, 2021, he signs a 14-year, $340 million contract. Okay? I wrote it down. I want y'all to know I wrote it down. All facts. Okay? 14 years, $340 million contract. Without playing a full season. 20 years old. Not even old enough to get a beer in public. Whose fault is that? I'm telling you right now, if I'm 19, 20 years old and I'm getting offered $340 million, hell, let me backtrack a little bit. If I'm 19, 20 years old and I'm getting offered $1 million, just one, okay, I'm going crazy. I'm telling you right now, I'm a thousandaire and I go crazy. So imagine if I'm a millionaire. With the talents of Fernando Tatis Jr., at 19 years old, 20 years old. He was born 2 days after New Year's, if I'm not mistaken, January 2nd. Double check that for me. I'm being. This is me being me. I guarantee you, I'm pretty confident it was January 2nd, 1999 when he was born. That's crazy. I know his birthday, but Fernando Tatis is not legal to drink. Fernando Tatis is not legal to barely do anything. He could vote. Cool. Being in San Diego in 2nd of January. See, I'm that good. 2 January 1999. Appreciate that, Fleck. Man. Let me continue down. We're talking about 2021, right? March 23rd, 2021. He had a shoulder injury in an exhibition game. Now, if you guys seen Fernando Tatis play, he throws his body everywhere. Now, that's the only time I will give him credit. He plays with his heart. He plays with his body. Like, this kid does everything and anything that you may or may not need out of a superstar. So you can pay him $1. You can pay him $340 million. He plays with his heart. I give him that. He did things that old school fans were like, why? Who is this guy? And that's why he was given the cover of MLB The Show in 2020. Just want to throw that out there. Okay. Now, he ended his left shoulder injury. He had a left shoulder injury in exhibition. He didn't address it. He just sat out a couple weeks, rehabbed it, did whatever he had to do. April 5th, 2021. Here's where I knock him a little bit. I repeat, he did not address the injury. If I was to roll my ankle and decide just to keep off my feet, and 6 weeks later decide to go on a run and my ankle swelled up, that's on me. Now, I'm talking from experience. I'm only talking from experience. I'm not talking about what Tatis went through. I'm changing it up so you guys know where I'm coming from. Because I went through it. I rolled my ankle, right? It got swollen. I couldn't even walk on it. On crutches. Went to the hospital. The only thing they said was stay off of it. Obviously, military medical and MLB medical, two different things, but same concept as far as getting treated. Initially, right? We're talking about initially. I'm going to get a little personal here. Spent 6 weeks on a swollen ankle. I finally get off my profile, which means I'm clear to run. And it swells up again. I finally get the help I need to get, find out what it is, and I had a stress fracture. Cool. I got a stress fracture, which means I need to stay off of it, right? We're talking the same thing here. Because what Tatis did, he hurt his shoulder and decided to go back to playing 2 weeks later. I'm trying to tie in to the masses what I went through and what Tatis went through, granted it was different injuries. Now, here's the timeline. April 5th, 2021, after he hurt himself, we're talking about 2 weeks later, we found out, the world finds out, Tatis has a torn labrum. Because he never got it treated. He never even got it looked at. He just stayed off of it. Yes, it's a shoulder. He can stay off his shoulder. And decided to go back to playing. Or at least try to play. He has a torn labrum. He had to sit out another month. Let that recoup. A month and a half later, he tests positive for COVID. Maybe not his fault. Cool, happens. Test positive for COVID. Who hasn't tested positive for COVID? It happens. I'm saying all that for this. Tatis never got surgery. His shoulder never got really looked into. It might be half his fault. Might be half of San Diego Padres' fault. But I realize I'm getting really long-winded for Fernando Tatis. But I want you guys to realize this guy is not worth $340 million. Never got surgery. Still to this day, never got surgery. Went to the offseason. The club says you need surgery, and Tatis said, no, I'm not getting surgery. 2 months later, he gets in a motorcycle accident. Hurts his wrist. He said he's fine. Doesn't say anything to the first day of spring training when the club says he has a fractured bone in his left wrist. Now, again, we're in 2022, for those who got lost. I apologize if I got long-winded, but I wanted you guys to know the facts. Tatis has never played a full season. So what happened? He March 14th was spring training, first day of spring training. He had to get surgery a week later, right, for his wrist. Today is August 18th. He pitched hot August 12th. What happened a couple of days before that? He finally reported for a rehab assignment for his wrist. If that doesn't say immature, I don't know what does. I'm totally upset. Because if I was to get paid $1 million or $340 million, I'm gonna take it seriously. Now, I got a haircut today. I look good. I look fresh. Again, my opinion. And Tatis last week got a haircut, and he claimed he got a ringworm from a haircut. I don't know how one goes with the other, but okay, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, right? He got a haircut and got a ringworm from a haircut. Completely lost on that one. Who's to say he's lying? Who's to say he's not? He tested positive for close to ball. I really can't pronounce it. It pissed hot. Okay, let me break down what close to ball is. Again, give me 5 more minutes and I'm gonna move on. I promise you. And the way it looked, I'm gonna get a little long-winded. I won't discuss everything. Dirty Blades is very possible, Tito. Very possible. Close to ball is a weak AAS, an anabolic androgenous steroid. Weak. In other words, it's taken when you're trying not to get caught. Weak. That's what that means. It's weak. It's used as a PEDs, a natural hormone testosterone. It is also known to be used in an East German state in their sponsored drug program. He's not winning this argument. Well, he hasn't. He is eligible to return May 1st of 2023. Crazy, right? He spent all that time doing God knows what. But I'm telling you right now, not worthy of $340 million. Is not worthy. And which is crazy to me because he still had 3 years of club control. In other words, they could have sent him to arbitration for 3 seasons. But for some reason, the Padres wanted to offer him a 14-year, $300 million contract. That's insane to me. You know, it's sad. It's sad, and I hate to spend a lot of time. I spent 25 minutes on one subject. I want to apologize, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I did my research, and I wanted to move on from weak to hot. And speaking of hot, nobody is hotter than the LA Dodgers of Hollywood. It's a thing. I'm going to catch on. Okay? Nobody's hotter than the LA Dodgers of Hollywood. 81-36 as of today. But of the first of 80 wins, everybody thought that the Yankees would be the first ones to reach that since they got off to a hot start. And I'm going to touch on their garbage standing right now. But I give props to where props is due. The Dodgers, 81-36, a major league leading plus 249 run differential. Okay? Obviously, they're they're head and shoulders above Major League Baseball. They lead the majors in RBIs, on base percentage, slugging percentage, pitching, ERA, victories, batting average against, and the WHIP. Okay, that is hitters, inning pitch, blah blah blah, statistics. That's exactly every time I see the Dodgers and I see Jimmy and I see the Dodgers, I hear blah blah blah, blah blah blah. But you gotta give credit where credit is due. But no, see, I thought it would be a lot harder to get where they are. I really did. Seeing as the National League West was difficult with the Dodgers, Padres, Giants, and for a while it was the Colorado Rockies and the Diamondbacks. They were all above 500 for a little bit. We're talking May, but everybody in that division got off to a hot start. So I was like, okay, maybe the Dodgers got a fight on their hands. They do not at this moment. 16 and a half games ahead of the San Diego Padres. It's quite obvious to say they'll win the division quite easily. Walker Buehler missing out for the season. The question was asked, will that hurt them in my opinion? Your opinion? Yeah, my opinion, I believe it will. Just as much as Clayton Kershaw's injury will hurt them. Reason being, when you get to a small series, a 3 out of 5 or a 4 out of 7, they don't have a shutdown guy in their rotation. Outside of Tony Gonzalen, who does the Padres have? And they're struggling right now and at the back end of their bullpen. Who's closing games for the Dodgers? So on paper, the Dodgers look great. They look unbeatable. They look unhittable. But to answer your question, rotation needs help. The back end of the bullpen, who's closing for them? Kimbrel just gave up a game the other day. So they still have some issues. Blake Treinen is still hurt. They lost Kenley Johnson. Granted, Kenley Johnson is hurt as well. Some heart issues with Atlanta. So they need to address the back end. At this point, there's no addressing because the trade deadline has passed. So the Dodgers, as good as they are, there's still some question marks on that team. So they're not the betting favorites to win the World Series, even though they're close to it. And I would give them all the credit in the world because they got a good hitting squad. Max Muncy's finally coming around and hitting the way he's supposed to. They even resuscitated Joey Gallo just a little bit, doing a lot better than he's been, just a little bit, doing a lot better than he was with the Yankees. There's no pressure when you're hitting outside of New York. When you're hitting anywhere else, for some reason, it's free. New York is New York's fault. It's not necessarily the player. It's New York's fault. It's the media. It's the fans. They expect perfection, which doesn't necessarily make it right, but that's New York. And I don't want to spend too much time on New York. You know what? Speaking of, I'm just going to go in since I'm already at a halfway mark of my show. I'm going to jump into the power rankings. Obviously, we discussed the Yankees not being at the top like we're used to. They've been gone the last 2-3 weeks. The Dodgers sitting at number 1. And the reason I picked this one because I agree with this power ranking. Drew Silva works for Fox Sports, by the way, for those of you inquiring about that. And the Mets sit at number 2. Okay? So the Mets sit at 76 and 42. A 4.5 game lead ahead of the Braves doesn't seem like a lot. I get it. But when you're throwing out Scherzer and DeGrom every 4 to 5 days, it seems like a lock to win 3 out of 5, which puts you at 500 ball the rest of the way, right? So we're talking about mathematics, statistics. They've been led by their pitching staff all season. But here's the issue. Just like I discussed about the Dodgers, the Mets got the same issues. Carlos Carrasco has a lat strain. He should be out for about a month. He's been doing what he's supposed to be doing. And Taijuan Walker is out right now, indefinite, with some back spasms. So we don't know if they're going to be on an IL or they're going to just skip a start. We're still waiting on word about Taijuan Walker. But outside of DeGrom, a Scherzer or Chris Bassett, the Mets are just a three-headed monster, which right now might be huge because you might only need 3 starters going to the playoffs. But the Mets have some issues. Now, tonight is interesting. I didn't mean to jump to this, but I'm going to do it. Tonight is an interesting matchup, and I don't know what the score is. If Fleck get the score up there for me. Jacob deGrom is pitching against Max Fried, right? People will see that as a game 1 in the playoffs. I wanted to watch that game myself, but I'm doing the show. I'm here for y'all, even though I want to be out drinking, and watching some good baseball. Because let's be honest, I haven't missed the Yankees game all season, but I am okay missing lately Yankees ball. And I'll get to that here in a second. But the Mets are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then number 3 is the best team in the American League, not only in my opinion, but the opinion of Major League Baseball, fans, media, alike, which is the Atlanta Braves. Golly. Houston Astros. Forgive me. I just saw that on my screen. 2-0 Braves, top 5, excuse me. Max Fried pitching against Jacob deGrom. So that pitching matchup is huge, especially with Max Fried coming back from concussion protocol. This is his first start from then. Houston Astros sit at number 3, obviously led by Justin Verlander. What can I say? The guy pitches 2-3 starts last season, tops. Tommy John surgery. People said that's the end of his career, and he proves everybody wrong. He's the Tom Brady of baseball, right? Other than the rings, we get it. We talk about longevity. It's Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander is doing what he's supposed to be doing. But here's something. Here's a name you guys are not hearing or expecting, and it's Framber Valdes. Framber Valdes, the number 2 in that rotation for the Astros right now. Big note: 20 straight quality starts. I can hear it now. What's a quality start? Quality start is 6 innings. You pitch 6 innings of 3 earned runs or less. And he's done that for 20 straight starts, which, by the way, is a record for the Houston Astros that he just tied with who? You know what? That's my question of the day. Who did he tie that record with? And I'll get to that answer here shortly. But, yeah. And the Astros are only going to get better. Why? Alex Bregman, since the All-Star break, 315, 9 home runs, 36 RBIs. He was obsolete parts of the All-Star break, and he's finally coming around, taking the pressure away from a Jose Altuve or the MVP-worthy Jordan Alvarez. And the Braves have just been hot. Sitting at number 4, and I do agree with this, the Atlanta Braves. I believe if Atlanta Braves are playing anywhere else, they'll probably lead the division. That's me. I think that's the best compliment I can give to the Braves. As much as I dislike them and their fan base right now, I believe if they were playing in any other division, they would be at the top. 72-47. But the issue is they just can't beat the Mets consistently. Right now, and I didn't want to get into stats. I want to stay and being complimentary, or I want to talk good about the Braves. I'm not going to lie. I want to say something that they did something completely right that nobody in baseball has done right now. And that is sew up their young guys for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And I'll give them that. The Braves have done that. Austin Riley, big contract, 2033. Matt Olson, 2030. Acuna, 2028. Ozzie Albies, 2027. And it has signed Michael Harris to 2032. It was 2030, but they got 2 club options, obviously. But smart. Lock in the young guys now. Not overpay. And then all they got to do is worry about Max Fried and some pitchers around him. And the Braves got an established franchise for the next 10 years. We're going to be talking about the Braves for the next 10 years. We haven't seen that since the Bobby Cox era when he went to the playoffs with 23 straight in a row. I think I just threw that on my ass. I might be wrong. Somebody looked that up. I think Bobby Cox went to the playoffs 23 seasons in a row. I believe. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But the Braves didn't do that. The Braves haven't done that since then. The Mets just tied the game. It should be a good game. I'm moving on. The Padres. No, you know what? I'm moving on for the Yankees. Yankees number 5. I'll get them in here in a minute. The Padres are number 6. What a blow! What a blow to lose a stud like Fernando Tatis. You know. But here's a name that you guys need to hear. Ha-Sung Kim. I think I got that right. And I apologize I got that wrong. He's the guy that's playing shortstop right now. For the Padres. And that's important to know because Ha-Sung Kim is the one that could quite possibly have a Gold Glove campaign as a shortstop. He doesn't hit worth a damn, and that's not my job to judge that. But the Padres are using him for what they need in his defense. They just need him to just do what he has to do at shortstop. They'll get mad at Fernando Tatis in the offseason, and hopefully he comes back next May. But yeah, Ha-Sung Kim. Now, Manny Machado has been the MVP for the Padres. There's no doubt about that. He's had, 3 Player of the Week awards this season. He's top 5 in the National League MVP. And he's just been hitting like Manny Machado has always hit this whole season. Now, everybody thought Manny Machado was going to be the young, immature guy who always, just wants the money and goes from place to place. But he's proven that he's ready to play ball. And Josh Bell was the name that came out of that trade when the Padres traded for Juan Soto. Josh Bell was thrown in that trade. Everybody was like, "Oh, just thrown in that trade." No, he wasn't thrown in that trade. Josh Bell is a very prominent power hitter, and he's doing work for the Padres, and that's the reason they'll clinch the playoffs. Now, once they get to the playoffs, it's gonna be a little bit rough, but the Padres is still a stout team. The Cardinals are a team on the rise, and I've been saying this all season. For those that know me, I said the Cardinals are the team to watch out for this season. Reason being, when you get to the playoffs, it's a short series. Anything can happen. What you don't expect is a guy like Albert Pujols all of a sudden decides to hit home runs out the blue. Now you're thinking about Amir. He has 600 or something home runs. How's it out the blue? Because Albert Pujols wasn't hitting home runs the last 2, 3, 4 years. He wasn't. He was a guy that everybody saw on decline, and all of a sudden he went back to the Cardinals, got a little bit of life, and he's 10 away from 700 today. And today, he didn't even start the game, had a couple of hits, and hit a grand slam for a 690th home run. Insane. I don't think he gets to 700. The question was asked, do I think he gets to 700? I want him to. I do. But Pujols hasn't played every day because Pujols is not an everyday player. I think they can, what's Bernie Mac's character in Mr. 3000? I forgot the name. But it should have popped up in my head by now. But I think it's more like that. Would he come back for 3,000 hits and you need 3? But, geez. Not Shaw. It's going to bother me. My statistician will get the name up there. Stan Ross. Yes. That's what I think of Albert Pujols. I honestly do. Stan Ross was a lefty, by the way. We didn't know that. Bernie Mac was a lefty. But Stan Ross is a lefty, and Albert Pujols is a righty. He didn't play every day. Hell, they even sat him out. For those of you that didn't watch that movie, they sat out Stan Ross for the entire last away trip to make sure he got his 3,000 at home. Spoiler alert, he did not get his 3,000 hit. But that's what I think when I see Albert Pujols. Very quality hitter, but 10 more home runs in the middle of August when there's about 40 games left. I don't see it. We're talking about 1 every 4 games, and I don't see it. The Mariners sit atop of the wild card. For those of you that didn't know that, they sit on top of the wild card right now. So what's the word I'm looking for? Their road to perdition is in their own. I don't know there's a word for it. I'm missing a word right now. But it goes to them. It goes to Seattle. They could be the third team that hits the wild card. Julio Rodriguez returning from the IL obviously is a big deal. He got hit right after the first game, right back from the All-Star break, got hit in his hand. Here's a name you guys more than likely don't know. Kyle Riley. And I don't mean Riley, Riley. I'm talking about Riley like Raleigh, North Carolina. That's exactly how it's spelled. Kyle Riley. Who is this kid? A rookie. This kid is good enough for the Mariners not to trade for Wilson Contreras of the Cubs. He's the reason Wilson Contreras is still a Cub. Look it up. I'm telling you. Seattle needed a catcher. And they decided to go with their third string rookie, who leads the major leagues as a catcher in home runs. Crazy, right? He didn't even start the season. But Kyle Riley leads the major leagues in home runs as a catcher, or leads all catchers in home runs. I think I got that right? Leads all catchers in home runs with 18. He can't hit worth a lick, though. He has like a 206 batting average, something like that. But leads the major leagues for a catcher in home run. You know what helps a little bit? When you got teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees, when the Mariners relievers lead the major leagues in ERA since the All-Star break. This is something World Series teams dream of. They only get to there when they're relievers. I'm telling you right now. Judge can get you there, but he can't make the horse drink water. If that makes sense. They need the relievers to get you there. The reason why Atlanta was so big last year, minus Lou Jackson. If I'm wrong, quote me. But their relievers got them there, and they had their timely hits. The Mariners are put together just right for a playoff run, and they will be dangerous going forward. At 9, we got the Philadelphia Phillies at 65-52. They're 2 games up in a wild card spot. I think the only news I got to say about the Phillies is, which is huge, that Bryce Harper will be coming back quite possibly next weekend. He is hitting minor league rehab assignment right now, and he's coming back. But he's not coming back as a outfielder. He's going to play just DH. So it kind of takes a sting just a little bit. The Phillies traded for Brandon Marsh, what they thought was going to be the everyday center fielder. He is out with an injury in his ankle. He's on an injured list. So the Phillies still dealing with some injuries, obviously. So do they have enough to stave off the San Francisco Giants? I believe is who they're fighting for. Oh, the Brewers, sorry. The Brewers and the Giants, who they're fighting for in the last spot. So that should be a close race coming up here shortly. And I got 15 minutes, and I'm sorry. The last slot, I know it says the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays and Rays got the exact same record. So I'm going to tie them up and put them together. Yes, they're 10 games away from the division, which I still expect the Yankees to lead the American League East. But Blue Jays and Rays are tied for 10th. And then speaking of the Yankees, a lot of America's doing this right now. They're burning their memorabilia, their merchandise, their merch, as they say. And what is wrong with the Yankees? I don't have enough time to go through what's wrong with the Yankees. And I can admit that as a fan, I'm not worried. I'm not. I'm concerned, but I'm not worried if that makes a difference. Let me clear up the confusion. They did so well to begin the season that they're allowed to struggle. But here's my issue. They're not allowed to struggle this long. Okay? They lost 5 series in a row. That's usually losing 2 out of 3. Since July 9th, they're 11 for 22. Here's where I'm concerned. Not worried, concerned. Only 2 teams have done worse than the Yankees. And that's the Tigers and the Nationals. And we already know they're dumpster fires. So for those 2 teams to be the only 2 teams to have done as bad as the Yankees, that concerns me. That concerns me as an analyst. That concerns me as a biased journalist. And that definitely concerns me as a Yankees fan. So what's the problem? I can easily cop out and say it's been injuries. Stanton been gone since the All-Star break. LeMahieu's been gone for a while. Rizzo sat out 6 games for a back injury. Carpenter sat out and will be back to the end of September. Clay Holmes just got put into the IL. Clay Holmes is their closer with back spasm, back injury. I can easily say is injuries. That's the cop-out answer. That is the cop-out answer. I just think that they just got complacent. The Yankees got complacent, knowing they had a huge lead, and they still do. 10 games up at this point pretty much clinches the division. But if they want to be another one and done, they better get their act together. Stanton is in rehab right now, in a rehab assignment. So is LeMahieu, so they got a couple of names back. The Yankees have panicked and brought up 2 rookies, Esteban Florial and Oswaldo Cabrera, to play infield and outfield. So you know they're panicking. And the Yankees rarely ever bring up minor leaguers or rookies, let's say. So concerned, yes. Panicking, no. Where am I at? I think I still got a little time. I'm going to briefly go, because I promised this, and I want to make sure I keep to my promises. So there's a lot more to talk about the Yankees, but yes, Fleck, it's not always about the Yankees. Okay, so I want to admit to that. Here's your National League, your Major League Cy Young watch. I want to briefly talk about this. Obviously, on top of the American League, we got Justin Verlander. You know what I'm saying? Justin Verlander, 15-3, 1.95 ERA. I don't see how he loses. Dylan Cease just went through like 10 straight starts of 2 runs or fewer, and no, he's doing his thing in Chicago, but Chicago needs a lot of help. So you got Verlander, Cease, Shane McClanahan, and that's what it's going to come down to, those 3 guys. McClanahan only gets the credit because he's 11-5, 2.28, leading the major leagues with 165 strikeouts. So he gets that credit. And being in a little market like Tampa Bay Rays, nobody hears from him. Nobody hears from him. Nobody hears about the Rays. And all the Rays do to keep fighting. Okay? So right now they're tied with the Blue Jays. They're tied for the playoff spot. They're tied with a wild card. They just beat the Yankees 2 out of 3, so that's something worth mentioning. Real quickly, which is crazy. I missed this part. It took an act of God himself, for the Yankees to win yesterday. For those of you that missed it, Yankees were losing. They had a rain delay. God said timeout. Get your shit together. I'm not quoting God again. I'm not. But they had to get their stuff together. And they won in extra innings. Maybe that's the beginning of something, but I doubt it because they're losing right now. But who's to say that God is not involved when it comes to Yankees? Yankees always been known as a mystique and aura. So we'll see how that goes. But your Cy Young watch, I think, comes down to three guys. Verlander, Cease, McClanahan, with Verlander with a way ahead lead. I hate to say that I'm impressed because I don't care for the Astros, but geez, I am impressed. Your National League, led by Sandy Alcantara. I know that's not a name you guys heard. Out of the Miami Marlins. 11-5, leads the major leagues with 3 complete games, 152 strikeouts, 1.92 ERA. He's not even giving up a full 2 runs this season. That's what that means. The Dodgers will see him, I believe, this weekend, if not next, or next week. Corbin Burns from the Milwaukee Brewers, 8-5. I guess the record doesn't really say that he's a candidate, but neither did DeGrom or Randy Johnson when they both won at 13-12 or 13-13. But he leads the major leagues and with strikeouts 181. Max Fried is a candidate. I don't think he'll win. I don't think he'll come second, but he's a candidate at 10-4, 2.60. Leading right now is the Dodgers, Tony Gonzalen, with a 15-1 record, 2.12. I believe he's not way ahead because Alcantara is doing everything he can to win that award. But I believe Gonzalen will win just because he plays for the Dodgers. So there is a bias there. So Gonzalen is ahead. I don't think Nola, I'm not even going to talk about him. But a guy to watch out for these last 2 months or month and a half is Max Scherzer of the Mets. Right now he's 9-2 with a 2.15 ERA. And he's going to do some damage going forward. And I'll tell you right now, I don't care if I'm the Braves, Phillies, or anybody in the National League. I don't want to play Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom back-to-back. Yeah, and that's your National League watch. Let's see what we got. Here's your player of the week. Nope, right here. Let's go. Your players of the week. For last week, we already discussed Manny Machado. Manny Machado has been pretty much by himself, pulling the San Diego Padres through the rut of the regular season, doing everything he can. This is his 3rd award, and a name you guys haven't heard of ever before. Why I say that? I'm confident because I never heard this name before. Vinny Pasquantino. In 6 games, had a .455 batting average, 4 home runs, but the OPS, which is the on-base percentage, slugging an average 1.545, which means he's on base pretty much every other at bat. And those are your players of the week for last week. I'm gonna quickly touch on a milestone. Nelson Cruz just hit his 2,000th hit last week. I had a whole story for him, but I'm not going to do that due to time. And I hate that I'm rushing this because this was a good week for baseball. A lot of stories, a lot of things going on. And Nelson Cruz, his professional career was Rangers, Orioles, Mariners, Twins, Rays, Nationals. Whew. But he was signed with the Mets, traded to the A's, traded to the Brewers, all before he even saw a pitch in the major leagues. So imagine that, and he just reached his 2,000th hit. And I believe he's 41 years old. I think the real question is, does he make the Hall of Fame? So that's a tough one. It's not up to me to decide, but does Nelson Cruz make the Hall of Fame? Going back to my question I had earlier, I didn't even get not one answer. Kind of disappointed in a guess. Fleck didn't even try to guess. Framber Valdes, 20 straight quality starts. He tied with the great Mike Scott. Mike Scott had 20 straight games. And that leads me to my new slide. To new me, who this? Story time with Poppy. That makes sense. I just made that up. I need to copyright that. New me, who this? I'm pretty sure I stole it for somebody. Where am I at? All right, let's do this. The time is. Jeez, nope, that's not it. There we go. June 6, 2012. I'm a pause for dramatic effect. Where were you in 2012? Was my brother still in the army? Brothers? Rob? Fleck? Jimmy? Y'all still in the army 2012? Think about it. Think about it. No, nothing. See, I want some type of interaction. These guys, they're boring. They don't want to interact with kind of baseball. But uh 2012, I was knee deep in Killeen, Texas for a hood. What was I doing in 2012? I was living in a crappy 2-bedroom apartment, and I'm pretty sure that second bedroom was full of storage stuff. I was in between marriages, about to get married again. I don't regret it. I got my babies out of it. But where you wasn't in when you come in, Fleck? I figured you're like 45. You should have been in by then. What am I missing here? 2012, June 6th. But what happened? What happened in 2012, June 6th? A player by the name of Wynton Bernard. You guys might have heard him, might not. Nothing. You guys heard. I want my guys to interact. They're kind of boring here. I don't know what's going on with their lives. I think Big Rob is lifting weights. Mr. Fleck Moore just got a tooth distracted. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. And then Jimmy is auditioning for his next part of a role. I don't get it. I want my boys to interact with me. But Mr. Wynton Bernard, June 6, 2026, 2012. Sorry, 2026. Jeez, we're in the future. 2012. Why is that important? In 2012, he was drafted in the 35th round, which doesn't exist anymore. I think they stopped at 32 now. Drafted out of the Padres. I know it was crazy, right? We talked about the Padres. Farm system. Played in the Padres farm system for 2012 to 2013. Released, signed with the Tigers. Finally made it to AAA baseball in 2014. Played AAA baseball for 3 years, which is unheard of, right? You're good, but not good enough. Mr. Wynton Bernard. Released. I guess the Tigers say you'll never get to the majors. We don't need you. And it's crazy because the Tigers was never that good. They play anybody. The Tigers really play anybody. But it didn't. They didn't touch Mr. Wynton Bernard. The Giants signed him in 2017. The Giants was like, you know what, we'll try him out. You got that far. Stayed there, played 1 season AAA. Nah, we don't need you. Cut him again, 2018. The Cubs came around. It's like, you know what? We suck. We'll take it. We'll take on Wynton Bernard. Wynton Bernard actually played in the minor leagues for 2 seasons. And they say, you know, Mr. Wynton Bernard, we don't need you here either. He got cut. Mr. Wynton Bernard went from Mexico to Venezuela to Dominican Republic to Australia to COVID. COVID 2020 hit. Nobody was calling him. His career is pretty much over, right? On paper, it was done. Nobody wanted him. I'm saying his name over and over again so you can hear it. Wynton Bernard was born in 1990. Mr. Wynton Bernard lost his dad while he was in college, his sophomore year. He transferred. He was in Niagara, I believe. And he transferred out of Niagara baseball program and got closer to his home so he could be with his dad his final days. And lost his dad after sophomore year, beginning of junior year. What am I saying all that for? 2021, he signed with the Colorado Rockies. Right? Took a year off, traveled overseas, tried to just continue to play baseball. Didn't give up on his dream. August 12th. We're talking about 6 days ago, people. 6 days ago. Colorado Rockies called him up. If you guys didn't see the video I posted on Facebook or just don't know the name, look him up. I posted on Facebook. The man was crying, calling his mom. He finally made it to the major leagues. Wynton Bernard. After 10 years of laboring, let me tell you something. You're in the minor leagues, the living conditions are crappy. They don't get paid like you think they do. They get paid as much as the next person at McDonald's. They travel on their dime outside of the bus that takes them there, but they're putting themselves up. Some organizations. Mr. Wynton Bernard was called up to the major leagues August 12, 2022 by the Colorado Rockies. His first game, he got a base hit, which is an infield hit. I saw it myself. Pure coincidence. He scored a run. He stole a base that game. His first game. He flew his mom in. You can see her in the stands crying. Hell, I shed a tear or two. And I say all that for this. He became the oldest. It's a fun fact. I might test you on this time next year. He became the oldest Major League Baseball player to ever record a base hit and a stolen base in his Major League Baseball debut. Mr. Wynton Bernard. And I'm saying all that for this. I don't want to get emotional. I really don't. You never know when your life is actually going to start. We all grew up with a goal, a hope, a purpose in mind. And for me, it just became a reality early this year. When I'm talking about me, obviously. I became a professional poker player. I finally made it. And I became a professional in 2006. Sorry, I became an amateur 2006. An amateur. And here we are in 2022, 16 years later, right? If I'm doing the math correctly. We never know when our dreams will become reality. Yeah, I had a dream to become a professional baseball player, but sometimes our dreams had to become real, and you got to be real and say, I can't attain that dream, and you pivot. You join the military, you join the workforce, you join whatever you have to do. And for me, my baseball career ended before it began. But that's okay. But I implore every single one of you to never give up on a dream, because you never know when it become reality. And for Wynton Bernard to labor 10 years in the minor leagues is huge, because it's usually, if at all, unheard of. Sports is usually done with you 4 or 5 years in. They'll let you know if you can't make it. And I'm not going to lie, when I saw the video of him calling his mother, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Mainly it being me. But geez. I'm wrapping up my show. I think I'm done. But I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to encourage you guys to never give up. I never thought I'd be doing a podcast over something I love, which is baseball. I never thought I'd do a podcast for something I love, which is all sports. Obviously, it matters. We threw that in there. See how that works? All sports matters with my brothers, who I just recently met a few years back. It's crazy. But I think I know my brothers for decades. And now I can't be without them. So I'm imploring you to chase your dreams within reason, have realistic expectations, but above all, never give up. Because you never know. This has been the Pride and Passion Baseball Talk. I am your host, Amir Shiraz Ortiz, a.k.a. Poppy Ortiz 02. Catch us tomorrow at the All Sports Matter podcast, where we discuss the AFC North, who comes out of there. The Cincinnati, can Cincinnati be Cincinnati? Does Pittsburgh have another 500-plus run in them? It's been 15 years. Just want to throw that out there. They've been above 500. The Cleveland survived the Deshaun Watson era. And does the Baltimore Ravens have more than Lamar Jackson? We'll discuss that and more tomorrow. Take us out. Hey, one more thing. Sorry, one more thing. I will not be here next week. I will be preempted by beach and drinks and a cruise. Okay? You guys can watch whatever you want to watch at this time next week on Thursday, or watch us at a previous episode on All Sports Matter podcast on YouTube or Facebook. Do what you got to do if you miss me that much. But I will be gone next week as I have my feet in the sand. I love you guys, and I thank you for supporting me, my brothers, and what we do. Take us out, Jimmy.